Hello, everyone, and welcome back again to Rewind Toys. I, of course, am your host, Jason Emmett, and today we're going to be talking about another really cool toy from like the 80s. This one was Madballs. Madballs were, well, they were toy balls. They were balls with crazy creature faces on them, roughly the size of a baseball, at least originally. These were really cool toys with a cool history. So let's take a look at that history and then we'll talk about the toys. They came from Am Toys back in 1985. American Greeting, who Am Toys was a subsidiary of, created greeting cards mostly. Sure, they also gave us Care Bears, which makes sense since, greeting cards, feelings, caring, and bear rhymes with care, right? But how did a greeting card company find its way to Madballs? Now, at some point, we're going to do a deep dive into Garbage Pail Kids. That'll be another episode because that's kind of a deep dive if you get my drift. But you need to understand that these were trading cards that parodied Cabbage Patch Kids, and we'll get into those in a different episode too. These trading cards took the world by storm, and that popularity didn't go unnoticed by American Greetings, who had done their market research. And they knew that kids, especially young boys, liked gross things, and they wanted in on that action. Enter the characters from Cleveland. This is a team of artists that was spearheaded by Mark Spengler, Ralph Schaefer, and James Elliott. And these guys were tasked with finding a way to reach that gross out market. Now, they really like the art behind Garbage Pail Kids, as well as the idea of trading cards, because, then you could collect and trade and all that. But they wanted something that they felt was a little more tangible than, cardboard cards. Something three-dimensional the kids could really get their hands on. They wanted balls. And please hold the giggles. So with this idea in hand, they began designing all these crazy faces. After that, they needed a list of crazy names. And then finally, with everything together, they were ready to go. And in 1986, the first run of Madballs hit the shelves and quickly disappeared. They were quirky, they were crazy, and they were just gross enough to grab the attention of, kids, but also the media. Newspapers began blasting ads asking the question, how in the world could this be justified? Why would anyone want such a toy? But people did want the Madballs, and all the headlines just made kids want them even more. They retailed for around $4 each, and the first launch had 8, as did the second, making 16 original Madballs. There were also 3 Super Madballs: the football, Touchdown Terror, the soccer ball, Goal Eater, and Foul Shot the basketball. 9 more variations of Madballs from the first 2 series were released called Head Poppin' Madballs. Now, these toys were considered to be a nuisance by some, with several schools actually banning them. They were intended to be bouncy balls, but they were shaped weird and would launch all over if you threw them, so most people just collected them, which is why they are still collected today. The originals. There's lots of knockoffs. We're going to talk about that in a second. Their popularity soared, and that spurred a number of similar lines like Spitballs and Blurt Balls. We should also mention the VHS cartoon Escape from Orb, which featured the exclusive girl Madball, Freakella. There was a Madball Gross Jokes video and a Star Comics comic book run. Oh, and R.L. Stine, you might know him as the guy who wrote Goosebumps. He actually featured them in a book as well. You could get a Trapper Keeper, a pencil sharpener, bed sheets, Madball the lunchbox, Madball the cereal, Madballs the flamethrower. You get the idea. Sales were good until somewhere around 1988 or 1989, when suddenly they just dropped. And kids moved on and production ceased. To those who do collect, you need to do your due diligence and be careful. There was actually a re-release a few years back, so make sure it's the original 80's run if that's what you're actually after. And there you have it, guys. Madballs. Don't ask me what we were thinking in the 80's. They just seemed cool. Honestly, they were pretty effing cool. Hey, thanks again for watching another episode of Rewind Toys, the show that looks back on retro toys from my childhood. Remember, you can also follow us at the Mixtape Podcast, anywhere you can find podcasts. That's a show where we talk about 80s and 90s and some early 2000s. A lot of music, some movies, some TV shows. Also, please subscribe to this channel here below, and you'll see all the really cool videos we do here that also relate to those time periods. That's it, guys. Thanks again for watching. And remember, until next time we speak, stay awesome. And when it comes to Rewind Toys, the search is half the fun. Now, go play with your balls.